So we are entering the third day of Boris Watch, and obviously at the time of this video, as far as I am aware, doing this at the time this is going to go out later in the day, as far as I'm doing this at the moment, Boris Johnson is still currently, keyword being currently, the Prime Minister. However, there have been a lot of developments because not only, as I predicted, the papers would heavily turn against Boris Johnson, which is what we are going to get into now. But just this morning, we have had the first Conservative minister come out this morning and say that he has sent a letter to the 1922 committee. That is the first open admission that a Conservative has sent a letter to the 1922 committee. The question is now, is how many other Conservatives are going to do this? I have said before, the Conservatives have been fooling themselves into thinking that Boris Johnson would do the right thing. Boris Johnson is not going to do the right thing. He's never done the right thing his entire life. Why should he suddenly start now? The only thing that is going to remove Boris Johnson from office is going to be the 1922 committee. And even the Conservatives have to realise that that is the only way that this is going to happen. That Boris Johnson has just become such a liability to the party. He is no longer worth keeping at their head. So before we talk more about the consequences of that, and like I say, as at the time of doing this, Boris Johnson is still currently the Prime Minister. For how much longer, time will indeed tell. But let's find out how the papers, especially the right-wing papers, have finally reacted to finding out that Boris Johnson is a liar. So, with that said, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. So, on with the show. So, this comes from The Guardian with the title of "Finally, the Tory papers have caught on that Johnson is a liar. What kept them?" The Tories woke this morning to survey the wreckage of their own press. They find the state of their party and its leader as trashed as Number 10's garden was reported to be after the May 20th bash. The few stalwarts praising the Prime Minister's non-remorse today will be of very slim comfort to him, given that their ranks include Anne Widdecombe, Patrick O'Flynn, and of the Express, while another of their ilk, the Telegraph's Alison Pearson, has jumped ship altogether. "Never again will these idiots take us for fools," she writes. However passionately some editors have backed Boris Johnson as their Brexit champion, even they realise that whatever outrageous untruths they have sold to their readers in the past, there is a limit how far they actually dare take them for fools. They know their readers balk at Johnson expecting us to believe that he thought a party with booze, crisps, and sausage rolls was a work event. The rage and the pain of bereaved families gets the full throttle across their pages because editors know that's how their readers feel. Each one of them remembers the emotional deprivations of their own lockdown. Editors dare not say it's absurd that a 25-minute appearance at a boring office party should bring down a Prime Minister. They know this is personal to all of us. They don't yet call for his head on a platter, but warn that is where his blonde mop will be if he doesn't do whatever list of things that they want. Get a grip, cut tax, use Brexit to deregulate everything, abolish all COVID rules, and so on. Like the party's MPs, the Tory press weighs up the pros and cons of keeping Johnson, but the mood is tipping perilously against him. The jaw-dropping duplicity of the right-wing press matches the Tory MPs in their comically sudden discovery that Johnson is a rule-breaking sociopath. Who knew? Here's the Mail with great acres of space given over to his litany of lies. Over all the years of his life, reprising every well-known public and private disgrace. Well, whoa. Watch the scramble as everyone tries to disassociate themselves from everything they always knew, the mealy-mouthed, long-delayed tweets of half-hearted support for his ministers. But Johnson was never the problem. He was only the symptom of what has become the conservative world that selected and boosted him. This is what the political poison of Brexit did to them. This is what the party morphed into UKIP, a Tory Rip Van Winkle, waking from decades of sleep to look around the cabinet table, now would be aghast. An extraordinary pinch yourself moment even came last night on Newsnight with the bizarre spectacle of Jacob Rees-Mogg, leader of the House, and Rip would be aghast, telling Kirsty Walk that the leader of the Scottish Tories, Douglas Ross, was only a lightweight figure. Ross, calling for Johnson to resign, is backed by a great majority of his Tory SMPs, making the May's elections with Westminster Cabinet a complete anathema north of the border. Since the UKIP takeover, the Conservatives have stopped being the Unionist party, cavalierly throwing the Scots and Northern Irish under the wheels of the Brexit bus. This is to save our skins in time for each Tory MP facing their local Labour and Liberal Democrats leftists, leaning which sins they have voted for. Jacob Rees-Mogg also may reckon, but not one, but Johnson would give him a job. Rishi Sunak is now vanishing into the deepest Devon, cancelling local press interview yesterdays, ranking with even Johnson's attempt to escape journalists by hiding in a fridge during the last election campaign. It may show Sunak's political greatness that his disloyalty marked him down, splashed all over the Tory press, insistent to try and prefer Liz Truss. The Mail gives her a lovely story of her own today. Liz, let's unleash the true potential of Brexit. And how little of this ship of fools has learnt from their last disastrous leadership selections. Brexit still boils their blood, though it no longer ranks as highly among voters, who are now more concerned with the pandemic and, of course, the economy. And Johnson's further plunge in the ratings and a 10-point lead for Labour may concentrate their minds. Sunak's polling has plummeted below 0.2, with this April cost of living crunch still to come. The Teflon is a permanent scaffold of the Prime Minister, leaving now a pan for where everything now sticks. Labour hopes that he stays in the job for the next election. As Wes Streeling told Newsnight, he described Johnson as unfit to govern and called for his resignation, despite saying it was in Labour's political interest for him to stay. Indeed, a damaged, untrusted, and now ridiculed opponent could, in theory, be a better prospect than the Tory party yet again remodelling itself with a new leader. But a fresh start isn't in them. Tory MPs and members are designed by their UKIP DNA to select one of their own kind. They are now no wiser than they were when they made that disgraceful, unpatriotic decision to foist a lying, cheating, self-obsessed scoundrel on the country, knowing his every fault and his full unfitness for office. They are the most to blame. So this is where this is now all coming to a head now. Even the right-wing press is saying this. And remember, just this morning, it came out that there were yet 2 more parties during lockdown that have now happened. This just keeps on rolling and rolling and rolling. And not only that, there have been some incredible reports coming out from Westminster insiders saying that there is going to be, from this uncovering, an absolute smattering of the culture that Boris Johnson has fostered inside of Number 10. And it is going to look completely farcical of how he is running Number 10. It gets it completely right in this article that the Conservatives are now weighing up the pros and the cons of keeping Boris Johnson. And if we've had one Tory member today come out and publicly say that he has sent a letter to the 1922 committee, then we have to ask that question. How many more today are going to be putting pen to paper and sending that letter? And how many others are going to be public about it? How many are going to be private about it? And then, of course, starts the next Tory leadership election, which in itself is also going to be very a fun and eventful spectacle to watch. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, down below, there are links to my one-off donation page called Buy Me Coffee. And of course, there's my Patreon page down below as well as the YouTube memberships. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all.